Ok, Dominique, je pense
Ok. Donc,
on peut commencer.
oui, oui, on peut déjà laisser les participants à l'intérieur de la réunion. Are we already letting them in? Hello, good morning, everyone, or good afternoon or good evening. And I think we can maybe give like 1 minute to others to join so that, yeah, we all have like a good number. But just while the others are joining, I will just remind you or ask you to mute your mics when you're joining, and at the same time just like have like quick check-ins. You can please feel free to add in the chat your names, your position, and then where you're joining us from so that we know who we are. We have in the call. Yes, I see that we have colleagues already from Congo. We also have colleagues from Nigeria, which is great. We can give more minutes just so we are. But meanwhile, just so you know, we do have interpretation. So please feel free to just look at your screen. You can see the interpretation icon. And yeah, if you prefer to attend this meeting in French or in Arabic, just feel free to join the language. And yeah, and you will be able to receive the translation from our colleagues. Hi, Nora from Algeria. Okay, so without any due delay, I will just start this webinar. And just to begin again, my name is Dominique Miegim, and I am the country coordinator for digital innovation for climate and nature. And this is with the United Nations Development Program. And I will be your moderator for the first 30 minutes of this important session. And yeah, and then today's webinar, as we all have in the screen, it's about advancing climate transparency in MENA and Francophone network by exploring digital tools for the enhanced transparency framework. And yeah, and I'm here today with colleagues from UNEP, from the CBIT-GSP, and also from the digital team in UNDP. And as we all know, delivering, right, our commitment under the Paris Agreement requires not only ambition, but also like a robust and transparent system for monitoring and reporting. So today's conversation will be about exploring advancing a transparency framework and also improving data system and leveraging solutions to track progress and inform actions. It's also about, learning from each other, learning from what other countries are doing, how they're building the digital infrastructure for climate transparency. And of course, is to build and strengthen that collaboration between different countries, between different regions. And yeah, and then before we begin, I would just like a quick housekeeping note. Please just keep your microphone muted unless you're speaking, and then also feel free to share questions in the chat or any reflection. That will be welcomed, and we will have as well Q&A session toward the end of each intervention. And you can already, as I said again, you can type your name, your position, where you're joining us from in the chat. And the session is also being recorded, so it will be shared with all the participants at the end with, of course, a very great overview of what we've done today. and it will happen in 2 days. So we have one day today, it's like 1 hour and 30 minutes, and then also tomorrow, another 1 hour and 30 minutes, where we will explore, start with the transparency requirement, what are the requirements under the ETF, and also invite few countries to share their advancement into building digital infrastructure for climate transparency. And as mentioned earlier, for those who just joined us, we will have interpretation. So please feel free to just click on the icon, interpretation icon on at the bottom of your screen, and then join us in the language that you prefer. So let us just like dive in, and I will just, pass the floor to our speakers that we have. We do have our speaker Zhang. Her name is Zhang, and then she's joining us from the UNDP. She's the digital product specialist at the UNDP. And following her, we will have other speaker from the transparency team at UNDP again, Musa. And Musa Diop is the network, Francophone network transparency expert. So he will also be with us today. And finally, we will have our speaker from the UNEP CBIT team, and his name is Alejandro. So I will just pass that over to you, Zhang, for quick opening remarks. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dominique, and thank you so much to everyone that's here today. Good morning, good afternoon. It's really a pleasure for me to be here and to connect with so many transparency and digital leaders across the MENA and Francophone regions. Over the next 2 days, we're here to explore how digital solutions can serve as powerful enablers of climate ambition. We all know the road ahead is complex. Under the Enhanced Transparency Framework, countries are required to report on greenhouse gas emissions as well as track progress towards climate goals. This really increases the pressure to build robust, integrated, and scalable MRV solutions. Digitalization can play a really critical role here in enabling better planning, monitoring, and implementation of NDCs and national adaptation plans across key sectors. UNDP has been doing this work closely with countries through its Climate Promise program, now active in over 120 countries, and through direct support to mitigation and adaptation in more than 110 countries. Within this portfolio, we've identified several key digital technologies that can become critical levers for progress. And one of the innovations that we've been able to do through this program is create open source technologies, such as the open source National Climate Transparency System that you hear today, that is fully customizable, sovereign, and fully owned by countries. And later, you'll see a live demonstration of this platform, as well as hear from Seychelles, our first pilot country, on how they've tailored and deployed the platform to become a fully sovereign tool that fits their national contexts. In addition to Seychelles, we're also really proud to be working closely with Senegal and Montenegro to build out their national transparency systems on the background of the open source solution. Each of the countries bring new insights and lessons learned and improvement as part of their national implementation. And that's really the essence of the digital public good that we've taken, where we've created an international community of practice that are collaborating to build and scale collective tools and knowledge. Let's be clear, a digital tool is only transformational if it's really embedded into institutions, into governance structures.
I think we do have maybe a
Interpretation can also be an opportunity for everyone here to share experiences of working. Lastly, I want to thank CBIT and GSP and all our partners who have made this gathering possible. And again, really looking forward to the next 2 days and using it to spark insight, fostering collaboration, and building momentum. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Zai, and thank you for the kind word. Thank you for the wise words in regard to digital infrastructure for climate transparency. And as we know, today is the digital time, and that it's digital is a key enabler for climate transparency and to achieve all our commitment under the Paris Agreement. So I will just pass now over the floor to Musa for the keywords from the transparency team.
Yes, thank you, Dominique. So I'm going to speak French for the Francophone Network. Bonjour à tous. Je m'appelle Moussa Diop, je suis le coordonnateur du réseau francophone au sein du PNUD. Je vais remplacer mon supervisor Richmond pour les mots d'ouverture de ce matin. Messieurs et Madame, chers collègues et participants, au nom du chef de projet et Conseil mondial sur la transparence climatique du PNUD, Richmond Achier, c'est avec un grand plaisir que nous vous accueillons aujourd'hui pour ce webinaire conjointement organisé par le Programme des Nations Unies pour le développement PNUD et l'initiative pour le renforcement des capacités en matière de transparence, le CBIT-GSP. Cette rencontre s'inscrit dans une série de webinaires dédiés à un âge crucial de notre époque, la mise en œuvre effective du cadre de transparence renforcée de l'accord de Paris. Alors que les exigences en matière de suivi, de rapportage et de vérification s'intensifient, l'exploration des outils numériques devient un levier incontournable pour renforcer nos systèmes nationaux de MRV et de transparence. Ce webinaire s'adresse à vous, acteurs du réseau francophone et de la région MENA, en tant que moteur de changement, garant de la rigueur et de la qualité des informations climatiques qui soutiennent les décisions politiques et les actions climatiques. Notre objectif est clair, vous fournir des conseils pratiques, des retours d'expérience, une meilleure maîtrise des outils et plateformes numériques. Ensemble, nous allons explorer les opportunités qu'offrent ces technologies pour améliorer la gestion des données, l'édition des rapports et renforcer la collaboration à tous les niveaux. Le PNUD reste à votre disposition pour vous apporter l'appui nécessaire dans les démarches d'amélioration de votre système de transparence climatique. Nous vous invitons à participer activement, à partager vos expériences, à poser vos questions et à tirer pleinement parti de ce moment d'apprentissage collectif. Merci à toutes et à tous pour votre engagement et très bon webinaire. Merci beaucoup.
Wow, thank you very much, Musa Diop. I mean, it's about sharing experiences between countries. It's about learning together. And I'm happy that you put that forward. So today's session, again, it's about exchanging our ideas and our views and also our experiences in building those tools. I will pass that over to Alejandro from the UNEP CBIT-GSP team.
Thank you, Dominique. And good morning, dear colleagues, partners, friends. My name is Alejandro Recatero, and I'm working on the UNEP Copenhagen Climate Center as a part of the admin team in the Capacity Building Initiative for Transparency Global Support Program, the CBIT-GSP. It's a pleasure to be here with you today and to welcome you all to this webinar series on exploring digital tools for enhanced transparency framework. I'm very happy to see, and I'm very grateful to see participants joining from multiple countries, multiple transparency networks, and implementing agencies. This is an example of the combined efforts that we are all doing to implement the ATF under Article 13 of the Paris Agreement globally. My words today are going to be very in line to what my other colleagues have said, but I want to emphasize that we are today at a crucial time in global climate action. We have seen the recent submissions of the first BTRs, the submission of the third round of NDCs, which all call for more ambitious and implementable action. In these times, the need for robust, reliable, and internationally comparable data and information has never been more important. These national transparency systems are much more than just a reporting obligation. They are the foundation of global accountability and ambition. They allow us to understand what is our collective progress towards the Paris goals, to build essential trust between nations, learn effectively from our actions, and inform crucial processes. Every country's efforts contributes directly to this shared global goal. I'm sure that everyone today here understands the value of effective MRV systems. Establishing these complex systems, and particularly integrated and embedded data management systems and online platforms into national contexts and national institutional arrangements, presents many challenges. They can go from technical complexities, data management challenges, intricate institutional coordination, and the constant need for sustainable financial and human resources. However, this also presents many opportunities to adopt new technologies, to build long-lasting institutional capacity, to innovate in data management and handling, and to learn from the experience of many others across the globe. In the last years, we have seen many technological advances. First comes to mind the rise of AI as a tool, new sectoral solutions, or open source platforms. We have experienced challenges in the implementation and use of these digital tools, and we have gathered many lessons learned. This is precisely why the CBIT-GSP and many other initiatives, UNDP and other initiatives funded by the JEF, this is why we prioritize creating platforms like this webinar. We want to foster an exchange of real-world experiences and practical solutions that will help us better understand this evolving landscape and learn from the available digital tools that we have and that can enhance climate transparency nationally and globally. Therefore, my message for today is to let us all seize the opportunity. Let us learn from the experiences that will be showcased today and tomorrow, engage openly, ask the difficult questions, share our experiences and solutions, and continue building this climate transparency community. With this, I wish you all a good webinar. Thank you, and looking forward to the next presentations.
Thank you very much, Alejandro. Thank you for this word. Without any, we will just take few minutes I will just take a few minutes to ask the colleagues to open the camera for a quick group photo so that we all keep the memory of this wonderful event. And then after the photo group, we will have the session led by Kelton, and it will be on, introducing you or presenting you all the different climate transparency requirements. So what are the requirements under the ETF, understanding the guidelines for MRV and transparency system. But let us just open all our camera, just quick photo. And I hope Musa is there to support with the photo as well. Musa, just let me know when it's good so that, yeah.
5, 4, 2, 1, 0, smile. This is the picture.
Okay, thank you, colleagues. So without any due delay, I will pass the mic to Musa Diop, sorry, to Kelton. And then, she will present the different guidelines on the ETF. And of course, please feel free while she's talking to add your questions in the chat. And yeah, we will come back to them after her presentation. Over to you, Kelton.
Thank you very much. So could you see my screen, colleagues?
Yes,
Yeah.
we can see.
Okay.
Oui. Oui, on va voir ton écran.
So thank you very much, dear colleagues. I'm Keltum Ait Belhaj, the Regional Coordinator for the Middle East and North Africa with CBIT-GSP UNDP CCC. Thank you for joining us today for this first session of our webinar series on advancing climate transparency in MENA and Francophone networks, on exploring digital tools for the transparency framework. So this first session is to provide an overview to support understanding for the requirements and guidelines for MRV and transparency systems under the UNFCCC and also under the enhanced transparency framework as stipulated by Article 13 of Paris Agreement. So here, just as a background, so this slide is summarizing the shift from MRV to the Enhanced Transparency Framework, or ATF, or what we call now transparency. So under the UNFCCC, countries needed to submit their national communication every 4 years. And with Cancun agreements, so transparency was enhanced more by requiring from countries to submit also their biannual updated reports every 2 years. And a review process was also applied, which we call the international assessment and review and international consultation and analysis. So all of this was the basis of Paris Agreement and Article 13 and the ETF, or the Enhanced Transparency Framework, which now requiring to all countries from 31 December 2024 to submit their biannual transparency reports every 2 years. And of course, undergo a common process of review, which is the technical experts review process. So these are some of the key milestones in the developments of the MRV and ATF framework. So in addition to what we mentioned previously, under the UNFCCC, the MRV system at the national level started gaining clear structures from 2007, when COP13 recognized the need for developing countries to apply their MRV system for their mitigation actions. Then in COP16 also, it was introduced the concept of domestic MRV. So countries now need to monitor and to report their own mitigation internally before sharing internationally. And after COP19, a kind of detailed guidelines for domestic MRV were adopted. So these guidelines focus more on institutional arrangements, on quality assurance and quality control, or what we call KA/KC procedures, and also capacity building. So now I'd like to briefly introduce the concept of an MRV, standing for measurement, reporting, and verification. So first of all, measurement, this refers to the process of collecting and quantifying data. And it's important to clearly define what is being measured first, identify all relevant elements, and specify the methodologies and tools used for all of this process. The second component is reporting. So once the data is collected, is measured, so it needs to be organized and communicated in a structured and transparent manner. And this is typically done through official reports or online platforms. And here countries define what information must be reported, the format, and the frequency. And now we're not talking yet about the ATF and the UNFCCC requirements. And finally, verification. And this is actually about checking the quality and reliability of the reported data. So here it involves reviewing the accuracy, consistency, and completeness of the information, either internally through the KA/KC procedures or externally via the TOR. So under the UNFCCC and the ATF now, MRV is structured as a process using ensuring transparency, accountability, and comparability of climate action and support. So it involves collecting, reporting, assessing, verifying data to confirm countries are really meeting their obligation and commitment to the UNFCCC and the Paris Agreement. So the system also is designed to address gaps in information on emission mitigation efforts, supports, etc., adaptation also, and to also create a kind of improvement over time. So the first components measurements under the climate transparency framework has evolved from focusing only on GHG emissions and reductions, which were initially reported through the national communications and inventories, to a broader scope that includes now tracking the effects of mitigation actions and support needed and received, and also adaptation, as it was introduced in the Bureau. And when the ATF come, so countries must now report this data every 2 years through the BTRs, starting from 31 December 2024. And now measurement goes beyond emissions. So now we are talking about capturing comprehensive data to monitor and also to strengthen climate action. The second component focusing on the reporting, which is about presenting measured data in a clear, transparent, and standardized format. So developing countries must submit their national communication every 4 years, covering GHG inventory, mitigation, adaptation, and more. And with the ATF, they must also submit a BTR every 2 years. So these reports include information on emissions and removals, progress on mitigation actions, and NDC implementation and achievements. And this is the new chapter that was added to the views in comparison with the BTR. Also, we need to communicate information on assumptions and methodologies used, as well as information on institutional arrangements, on support received needed, on adaptation and loss and damage if it's just optional, and any challenges or gaps that the country is actually facing. And now I am not specifying what is mandatory, what is optional, what is voluntary, because we did already this in our previous sessions. So for the third components, verification, it's about ensuring the accuracy, consistency, and reliability of the information reported by countries. So under the ATF, both information, quantitative and qualitative data must be verified. So this includes all the chapters that we already mentioned on GHG inventory progress, progress made in implementing and achieving the NDC, adaptation efforts and their impact, support needed and received. And when we talk about supports, it means like financial support or technical and technology transfer or capacity building. So at the national level, countries now are encouraged to establish their own domestic MRV systems to carry out like kind of internal verification and quality control. Quality control is when the expert who will lead the verification is from the team, and quality assurance, it means a third party. At the international level, and here, as you can see, so verification was previously conducted through international consultation and analysis, or ICA, for developing countries or non-Annex 1 parties under the BTR system, which means MRV arrangements under the convention. And with the ATF now, the process is replaced by one single common verification process for all countries, which is the technical expert review, or TOR, with some, of course, flexibilities available to developing countries that need it in the light of their capacities. So here, the technical expert review is assessing whether the information reported in the BTRs is completed, is consistent, and transparent, and if It covers, and the review, of course, as we mentioned previously, covers quantitative and qualitative information, and also in both forma of the BTR. We know now that under the BTR, we have also the electronic reporting part, which is added. So the review need to be on the BTR PDF reports and also on CERTIs and CTF tables. So one of the important thing also here that we need to highlight is actually the difference between an MRV system and monitoring and evaluation system. So many of you may already be already familiar with the monitoring and evaluation system, or what we call like the M&E system. So especially in developing policies. So M&E is actually like a general concept used in design and implement public policies and projects. So it's often a requirement, like for example, by donors, especially when we have some bilateral and international projects. And it's used actually to track the progress, to measure performance, and to ensure accountability. And this system can be applied to kind of projects, programs, and even for policies. So usually they help the country to ask or to find answers about two questions. Are we doing what we planned? And are we achieving the expected results? So from here, we understand that monitoring and the evaluation system is actually about projects management. So in comparison, MRV is, first of all, a specific requirement under the UNFCCC and the Paris Agreement, and which is first designed to support transparency in climate action and support. Unlike the MRV, the monitoring and evaluation system, MRV doesn't like focus heavily on the evaluation components, but instead it's more on technical and standardized for tracking like GHG emissions, NDC implementation, climate finance flows, but as we can understand, so MRV does not replace the monitoring and evaluation system, but it's actually, it can complement it. So beside the requirements, why really we need an MRV ATF system domestically? First, because MRV system will help country to comply with the ATF and UNFCCC and Paris Agreement reporting requirements by like regularly tracking emissions, actions, and supports. They can also enable monitoring progress toward global temperature and supports NDC implementation by assessing efforts over time. And of course, they evaluate national progress. They can recognize the achievements of your NDCs, and also they can build a kind of trust among stakeholders. And not only at the national level, but also at the international level with donors, organizations, UNFCCC, etc., etc. So they can promote also coordination and transparency and also comparability of climate action across countries. And here, what is required for a robust national MRV system which is capable to meet the ATF requirements? So countries here must establish or strengthen their national MRV or transparency system. And this can be done via, first, the development of a legal and institutional arrangements that define who is responsible for what, and establishing a systems for data collection and management, developing also QA/QC procedures to ensure data quality, and of course, processes for documentation, for archiving, and for reporting. And all these elements are like considered as the backbone of of having a robust national transparency system. So we talked a lot about the importance of an MRV system, but we didn't mention why it needs to be digital and online. So many countries still be dependent on manual processes, on Excel databases, which can create like some kind of challenges like data inconsistency, delays, risk of losing institutional knowledge when, for example, staff change. So this is why actually digital MAV system needs to be digital and needs to be online, because it can address all of these issues by centralizing first your data from different sectors, ensuring consistent data entry and calculation, tracking workflow and deadlines. And also this will allow you to have like an easier and smooth collaboration between your stakeholders and institutions and data providers. So how digital MRV can support BCR preparation? This is very, very logical. So digital MRVs, they can directly support your BCR preparation by like kind of automatically create a reporting process. For instance, GG inventories can be linked to IPCC software and automatically produce 30 tables, also indicators to track NDC implementation. They can be preset and updated regularly. Finance data can also be collected from multiple agencies into one platform. And also key steps can be documented and reviewed systematically. And this, of course, will help the country in reducing, first of all, the time and the effort needed to comply your BTR reports. These are some key consideration in designing a digital MAV system. So we need to take all of these points into consideration when we want to develop an MRV system, because it's important to start by first assessing what already exists in our countries. What institutional arrangements or institutions are involved? Where are the data sources? And their existing sectoral database that can be linked. And the system here should be designed to fit not only the commitments and your obligations vis-a-vis UNFCCC or Paris agreements, but also to fit your national context with proper access control, with training models to your stakeholders and data providers, and also to have like a long-term hosting solutions. So also think about some or one of the important points, which is data security. Data security, interoperability with other platforms, and also long-term maintenance and updates. And this is very important to ensure the real functionality and sustainability of your platform. So to conclude, a functional transparency system, we know that is essential for fulfilling ETF obligations, and also it will help us to track our progress and to plan our strategies. So having now a digital MRV system, it's not as a luxury. It is a key tool for streamlining data management and reporting. So now we should all have a digital MRV. So countries now should take like a strategic approach. Always start with what you have, with the existing tools, and then you can gradually move toward digital processes. And here we can, like, for example, mention some examples. In some countries, we have a robust systems and digital ones on DG inventory, but they didn't include yet like NDC tracking or financial flows. So all of these steps, we can do it gradually, like to have a more functional and sustainable transparency platform and system. And thank you very much for your attention. This is our team from CBIT-GSP and UNDP CCC, our partners. And over to you, Musa.
Thank you very much, Kelton. Yes, I will pass the moderation back to Musa. And before the questions, please, colleague, just a quick reminder, ask your question in the chat. You can feel free also to like raise your hand and ask directly the question. However, that question session will come after the next one. So it will be about presenting the digital public good system that the United Nations Development Program has developed to like support countries into this journey. So just I will share my screen and I will do like a few introduction of the UNDP digital public goods system and pass that over to my colleague Douglas Moret, transparency expert at UNDP, to also present you, do a quick demonstration of the system. And again, please feel free to already ask the question in the chat. After those presentations, we will take few questions before the next phase of our webinar. Second, please let me know if you see my screen.
Yes, it's clear.
All right.
Yes.
Okay, so as my colleague just previously mentioned, digital systems are important at this stage, right, for the climate commitment. It's important to have a digital tool to be able to monitor all our actions and programming, etc., or in regards to climate change. And I think you all know this. So the challenge, all know that those challenges in terms of climate transparency and in terms of like climate data collection and also reporting. So why did we build a system to support the countries? It's because of those challenges, because of the lack of data. There's no data when it comes to climate change. And then also the data are sometimes everywhere. You know, the data are spread across the different departments, across the different ministries, and sometimes it's difficult when it comes to report to UNFCCC. It's difficult to gather them and then have them at one place. And at the same time, when we do have data, there's also this trust issue. We're not sure of the quality of the data, neither the accuracy. So it's important to also think about those things. And I think I'm happy that you mentioned that, Kaltum, it's limited to human capacity. It's time consuming when it comes to reporting. And usually most of the time it will take time and with a high turnover within our offices. So we often do that manually instead of having some way or a digital platform that can centralize everything. And of course, on the top of that, we can't not mention the timeline to build a system and also the cost to build such tool. 1 second. I think I have maybe technical. Okay. So what UNDP has done, so we've built a digital public good system. So simply, it means that we've built an open source, but it doesn't mean it's open data, but it's open source system. And then also the system, which means that the code base of the system that we've built at UNDP is free for access. Any country can just access the system. and then, customize it to its national context and adapt it, and then launch it as a sovereign system. So it supported the tracking and the management of all the NDC actions and the GHG inventory, as well as the different information around climate change. And the system has been built with our partners, of course, through the Digital for Climate Working Group. And this is to enable that interoperability between different systems, between different tools across different countries as well. So the digital public goods system that we've built, as mentioned previously, there are a lot of challenges in terms of like reporting to UNFCCC. We do that manually. So with the digital system that we've built at UNDP, it supports automatically reporting of all our actions and all our project and everything, all the different programs that we undertake in the country. And it's just centralized into one place so that it's streamlined, that support. It's really facilitates when it comes to reporting by saving the time instead of like starting back like at the end of the year drafting all those reports. You will have the chance to see that it supports that streamline of reporting to UNFCCC. And of course, it has also been built to support the validation before any data or anything is reported to UNFCCC. It supports the validation of the data and allows, as I mentioned before, the API integration with other national platform. So it has been built as a part of an ecosystem with other tools within UNDP that we're not presenting today, but it supports that integration and exchange of data across different platforms. And the purpose of building a digital public good ready for country to just, customize and install as a national system was to support them into like having a reduce to 70% the timeline that it would take to if a country has like initially started to build a system from scratch. So I won't dive into the key features as my colleague Douglas will do that, but as mentioned earlier, it's just a system that is built to support the country to securely compile and report on the progress and the action and the different support received and needed as well under the Paris Agreement ETF. And it is highly customizable again. So you can take the code and then customize it, and it ensures compliance with the ETF guidance for BTR, Biennial Transparency Report. And as a community, as a digital team, a digital working group, we are working at improving the code base constantly. So we sometimes have updated version as well. So I won't dive into this part, but I'm sure that if there's any question, I'll be happy to present this. But usually these are the different steps, just broadly, these are the different steps that we take when it's or we recommend to countries when it comes to like customizing the system that we've built. It's just about planning and then scoping to gather all the different key stakeholder insights and ensure that it is an inclusive process. And of course, now customizing the system, configuring it, and going forward, install it and doing the proper handover. So I want to dive here because it's not the purpose. The purpose is for you to see the system and also to learn from it, as we have also invited one of the countries that we've supported so far. But before that, I will just pass that over to my colleague Douglas to present the United Nations Development Program and develop system to support the countries into this journey. And I hope Douglas is here.
Yes, and I hope you can hear me, Dominique.
Yes.
Yeah, good morning, everybody. I'm for those in the French-speaking, particularly, I can see Africa, Middle East. I am unfortunately on the other side of the world today, so I hope that in the Pacific. So I pray that you'll be able to follow what I'm talking about here for this demo. the transparency software that Dominique mentioned, again, is open source. So the software code can be gained for free, and as Dominique mentioned, can be customized to the specific country needs. But the basics of the software I'll be able to present right now. And basically, we have a dashboard that gives you a very quick overview, any user, a very quick overview of let's say, the different elements within climate change in the system. And the first one is, what type of climate actions, what sectors are involved, and the number of climate actions in each sector. So you can get a quick overview there. At the same time, you can look at how many individual projects there are in sector. You can track the support needed and received at your current time, and then also the specific financing for all the activities that your government is involved with. You also have the opportunity to find and determine the mitigation in each in any specific year. So if it's in the system, you can bring it up and it will tell you the mitigation, for example, in this case, the energy sector. And then there's a general overview of the different actions that a country may have. What's important is that the system is built around an information structure that we often use in governments and as well in the development area, where we have actions, which you see here. And those are kind of like the primary actions you may have listed in your NDC, which could be such as number 3 here. I'm sorry, the number 3 is your transparency work, but number 4 could be adaptation. But most importantly, it's the mitigation, which you see number 1 here. So this would be renewable energy within your whole country. And then the system allows you to divide that up to programs so that you have underneath that action, you may have programs for rural electrification and grid electrification. And then there's information on that. And then you have very specific projects like what you may have with UNDP or GCF or the African Development Bank, where you can track the information on those specific projects. Briefly, when you go into these different items, you have the ability to create these actions, but the main thing is to be able to collect the information you need for the BTR reporting, but also information you need for tracking within government. The general information you can see here is part of the requirements for the BTR. And then you can add and upload files so that the government can keep track of information and not lose it every time an employee leaves a government position. So you can then save this. And then under every action, you have your different activities that are involved, and let's say some different results of support, for example, that may be. For mitigation, you can track your different gases, as you can see. You can track how much emission reductions you expect to gain, as well as what you've achieved. And you have the ability to add additional KPIs. So, for example, the system, even though it's designed for mitigation, you can actually track adaptation efforts here, and then include different KPIs that you want to track. I see there was a comment, for example, on gender, so you could actually include gender into the KPI context, and there's no necessary limit on the number of KPIs you can add. Again, we have programs, which would be, for example, under renewable energy, you would have increase in rural electrification, which would be this program here. And you have the opportunity to add in, again, some more information specifically on that, and then the different support and projects that may be included in that program, including additional KPIs. This goes further into projects which we're used to working with. In this case, it's an upgrade of a hydro power plant. And within that upgrade, you can then go in and see the specific information on that project, including uploading documents and files that you may need, your different KPIs, and in different elements. When it comes to mitigation and further information, you can attach an activity, and this is where you can put in the very specific emissions-related information for the, sorry, I'm just having a little trouble with Zoom here, emissions-related information for any particular activity, project, or program. And with that, you can see we also have, as you go further within this, you can see there's an activity. You can do it from mitigation, transparency work, cross-cutting work, and other related items. So what's important here when we look at activities is that you can also track the different mitigation scenarios that are required under ETF reporting. So your without measures, which is your baseline, your with measures, which we used to call unconditional mitigation, and then additional measures is what we used to call conditional mitigation. And you can track these scenarios like on a project basis or an action basis. You also have the ability to put in, those are the scenarios that you're projecting, but you also have the ability to actually record the actual achieved amount of emission reductions, which is here. The software does not have built-in methodologies to do these calculations, so you have to put in the actual greenhouse gas numbers. And the reason for that is because every country has different methodologies that they're using in this sense. The nice thing about the system, or the beauty of the system, is that you have the ability then to report on the ETF, the tables, the common tabular formats, at least for 12 of them, not all of them, but particularly the formats, tables related to your support needs and the overall mitigation progress. So these get automatically filled out from the system, which saves hundreds of hours of work for us. And finally, you do have the ability to also put in your for example, your NDC projections for 5 years and 10 years ahead. So you have the ability to put in the data from your GHG inventory on any specific year. In this case, we have 2000, based on the IPC 2006 standard. And then you have the ability to put in your projections for years as well, based on the scenarios defined in the ETF, which is the with measures, with additional measures, and without measures. There's a module in there to do really simplified projections, but if you have more complicated projections, for example, in your LEDs or in your NDC, you can actually put these in by manually as well. So it's pretty easy for you to use different systems, also because you'll have different sectors that you're dealing with. The system is designed to allow for many different types of users. So you can see we have administrator users, we have government entities, for example, departments, consultants, or state-owned enterprises. And we also have observers, for example, the UNFCCC technical reviewers who can go in and look at the data and information, to see the background of your NDC information and your BTR reporting. You can also allow development partners to access to the data. But I should mention these observers cannot put in data. They can only read the data if you want. And the administrator has full access to assign those different users. And then finally, as a government, you have the ability to put in different training files here, even videos and so forth, to train different public employees about how to use the system. So yeah. I believe that's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Douglas. Yeah, I think we have 5 minutes for the QA question. So, please.
think there are a few
I
questions
think I
in the
see
chat.
Yeah, I can answer the first two. There was a question about including gender. So because the system's built to allow for multiple KPIs, you can include those in the system. But the system doesn't have like you can't assign like an overall KPI to every single project in action. So you would need to develop it per action, but you can customize the system to have national KPIs if you wish. There's another question on sharing the information from the data. The system is built to manually put in data. You can export all the data that you would use for the ETF reporting tables. However, there is not direct integration at the moment with the UNFCCC's reporting and the IPCC reporting. So you would need to extract that. But that part can be customized through the APIs, as Mosa mentioned. It's actually not very difficult to do. So yes, there is the possibility to do that.
Yes, Emmanuel, I think. Emmanuel, est-ce que tu es là, Emmanuela, de Burundi? So I think it's.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't open. Okay. I was asking the link between this digital system and the ETF system that we know. Thank you.
Dominique or Douglas, do you have? Douglas, do you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Dominique, do you want to take that question, or should I take it?
Oh, please feel free.
Yeah. So the new UNFCCC ETF reporting is actually 3 different softwares at the UNFCCC. One is related to the inventory, which this does not do. That's all the CTR tables. Then you have some of the other the support tables that are related, and those are not directly linked to the UNFCCC software yet. They can be done through API, so it's technically possible to do. At the moment, this system will record all the data and put it into the table formats, and then you can extract the data into Excel or CVS. But the direct linkage isn't set up yet with the UNFCCC on that. And then it doesn't, right now, the qualitative reporting under the UNFCCC, which is the Annex 2 tables, are not all included in the system yet because it's qualitative, text information that you put in. I hope that answers your question.
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
And maybe Zhang can complement. Oh, okay.
Musa, please, can you make translation, please, and try to respond in French?
Okay.
Donc, je peux répondre en français, il n'y a pas de... Donc, le système actuellement, il est conçu juste pour pouvoir centraliser les données et puis avoir déjà au moins les données en un seul, automatiquement remplies dans les tables, dans certaines tables 13 des tables CTF. Mais l'objectif à long terme, c'est vraiment de pouvoir connecter le système avec le système de la CNUC. Mais cependant, il n'est pas encore intégré avec le système de la CNUC. Il a juste les tuyaux pour l'intégration, les tuyaux API là, qui vont permettre l'intégration plus tard. On n'est juste pas encore à cette étape, mais c'est dans l'objectif de l'équipe, quoi. L'objectif de l'équipe, c'est de pouvoir faire cette intégration-là entre le système du PNUD et le système de la CNUC, de telle sorte que au lieu de télécharger les fichiers Excel ou bien les fichiers CSV à la fin et soumettre à la CNUC, on clique juste sur un bouton et après, ça puisse partir automatiquement. Mais on n'est pas encore à ce niveau-là. C'est envisagé, je suppose, quand même. C'est envisagé.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Dominic. So if you do not have questions, so I can introduce Wilma for the second session. Wilma, are you
Musa?
here? Yeah.
Musa, we have another question here from Leah from Lebanon. Thank you for sharing the platform demo. Are the input that's feed into the manually entered, or it is interoperable with the existing ETF reporting platform and IPCC or our relevant national MRV systems? I think it should be like the same answer.
Yeah, this is the same. That is why I did. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So it's the same. And again, just to complement on the Douglas answer. So the system right now is not, it has been built with API integration. So if you want, for example, if a country wants to connect the system with its national order platform, that can be possible. It will just be a matter of like, looking at the back end of the system and see if both systems can be easily connected, specifically depending on the order one, because the UNDP one has the API integration possible, enabled, basically. And again, just to like emphasize on it, so the system right now has been built in the sense that it will streamline the automatic, fill in automatically the different BTR reporting, BTR CTF table. And the purpose, the vision of the team of UNDP is to connect that with UNFCCC tool. However, it's not there yet. It's not yet connected. So it's just the vision, and we're aiming there.
Yeah, Dominic, we have another question from Mustafa Al-Nahas. I see you manually enter the estimated emissions reduction for mitigation projects, but it doesn't start before that, correct? I mean, it doesn't tell you what data to collect or how to calculate the reduction. Also, can we see an example for support MRV? And we have another question from Lina Hattal. Can we use this platform in the city level or only at the national level?
Yes, I think the questions from Mustafa, Douglas responded to that one, but right now it's just manually importing the GST information. The system does not do any calculation for now, but that's how it has been said. And in regard to the example for support, after this question Q&A session, we actually have one of our colleagues from Seychelles with whom we have been working with the last few months. So we have supported Seychelles as the piloting country to customize the system, and then she will come in and also share the journey throughout this process. And if the system can be customized at the city level, it's highly customizable. Right now, for example, in Senegal, the system is being customized for the energy sector with the purpose of extending that to other sectors. So it can be like, it depends, it's up to the country. The country can just take the system and then customize it as the country wants. It's flexible enough for that.
Thank you, Dominic. Okay, so we are moving to Will now from Seychelles. Yeah, to insight. From Seychelles on building their MRV transparency platform. Will now, are you here, please? Will now, please, can you open your mic, please?
Maybe
Will,
while Wilna is joining, there's a question from Alan.
from Ahlam. Yeah, before coming to Wilna. Ahlam, I think I see your hand. Yeah, please. Ahlam, please. Wilna, are you here? We can move.
Ahlam Shah.
Yeah.
Yeah, please, Ahlam, Mr. Omar, we can see you, but we cannot hear you. تفضل.
No, we can hear you, Ahlam. We can hear you.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, Wilna. Okay,
Yeah.
it's okay. So I will please wait after the presentation from Wilna. We will come back to you. Okay, please, Ahlam. Yeah, Wilna, over to you.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's afternoon here in Seychelles. My name is Wilna Push, and I'm from the Seychelles Country Office, working on climate projects. So this afternoon, I will share some lessons from the National Climate Transparency System that we recently developed in Seychelles, and obviously I will share challenges and lessons and what are the next steps for Seychelles. I have a slide for you. I see your hands up.
Omar, please. Omar, can you please, and after the presentation from Keltum, can you meet Omar, please?
Okay.
Okay, over to you, Wilma. You can share your screen.
Okay, so let me just share my screen. Can you see my screen?
Yes, coming. Okay.
So,
Please full
as I've
screen.
said, okay.
Yeah.
As I've said, I will share some of the lessons learned from the Seychelles journey on developing the climate transparency platform. So this is just to give you the landing page of what the Seychelles transparency system platform looks like. So this is recently developed. So that was started last year. I believe Douglas have presented some of it, what it looks like. And at the bottom of the page is a link to the system, so you can have a look at what it looks like. And obviously this is you need a user platform to see features, but you can see the landing page and the other features that is accessible to the public.
Yeah. Sorry, Wilna. Just to highlight that we can't hear you correctly.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe.
How about now? Is this better?
Oh, it's perfect now. Thank you very much. It's perfect.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, so a little bit on the timeline. What the timeline was for us in developing the MRV platform for Seychelles. So we started this process in April 2024, where we had a scoping workshop in Seychelles, and we could only start recruitment of the IT vendor, so the consultant that will develop the platform, and a data consultant in August 2024. And we completed the configuration of the platform in end of 2024. So by that time, we was not ready to launch it online, but we could do a pilot training offline with the offline version, and we could only launch the platform in February 2025. So we've had other training sessions with what we call data compilers. So data compilers are officials that were identified in the different sectors like energy, waste, AFOLU, and industry. So it was both compilers from the government institutions and also from non-government organizations, private sectors, and so on. And we now are into the technical handing over phase where we working with government and the ICT department to hand over the platform officially. So it's probably been mentioned that this platform was developed under the Climate Promise 2 project. So now with the project closing, we also closing on activities on this piece of work. So quickly on what we define as opportunities and successes, what worked well for Seychelles, but we've had a lot of lessons that we've learned that we'll be happy to share with you. So we did have a strong collaboration between Seychelles and international teams. So we had bi-weekly meetings with the team on the global team, where they helped us with together with our consultants, so to help us configure and troubleshoot issues that came up. Remember, this work was in the pilot phase, so there were quite a lot of issues to iron out. So we had these meetings, and that was really helpful to help us progress with this work. So we also had a proactive consultants who went beyond and above to get things done. So we also set up a technical working group in country. So this again comprised of departments like ICT, climate change, national planning, climate experts, and so on and so forth. So this team had oversight for the work that was ongoing. We also had with the national data consultant that was working with us, he was also an expert in climate data, so he knew where all the data were. He knew where all the data were, and he knew how to access the data in the country. I think what worked as well was that the fact that we're working in a small setup, and that is not necessarily the case for a lot of countries. So we're working on an island where everybody knows everyone, so you could know who were your points of contact for different sets of data that was needed to upload onto the platform. So as I've alluded earlier, so there was this close engagement and partnership with the government department. So that helped push things through. Yeah. So to share a little bit on the challenges, we had when I showed the timelines, you have seen that there were some delays in getting procurement. We had to ensure that the deployment requirements were met. What I mean by that is that when we knew what were the requirements to host the platform, or what was needed in terms of infrastructure. So we had to do a little bit of shopping, so a bit of due diligence as well, to contact companies that were able to host the platform. So that took a good couple of months to be able to do this work. We also found that we needed more funds that we had to deploy the platform. So we really started with an estimation of what was required. So we had to get creative in terms of how to get additional funds to ensure that the work could continue on the ground. There was a lot of data that was scattered, requiring extensive extensive sectoral consultation. So we needed this earlier. So we had to go in different organizations to look for these data. Additional meetings were necessary. What we found when we did our, can you hear me, Dominique? Can you hear me?
I think you got, I wasn't sure if it's from my side or your side, but you were breaking up.
Can you hear me?
You were breaking up the
how
last
about now? Is it
1 minute. Now it's better. Yeah, it's fine.
Okay. So what we found out through our research was that there was no local company available for the platform hosting. So we understood that none of them had the infrastructure to host what was needed. So we really had to look outside of the country, contact overseas companies who had the necessary infrastructure for this. So because we were working, when we wanted to launch, get some things done, just because the government shifts its focus to other priorities that arise at around that time. So yeah, so we really was working with.
We're not okay. I think
yeah, we lost Will now. Maybe this is the connection. Yeah, I think we can go to Omar. Omar Buker Wata, please, Omar. Waiting Will now. Omar, are you here? Omar Buker Wata, are you here? Yes, thank you. Please.
مرحبا بكم جميعا. أنا اسمحوا لي اللغة العربية. عمر بن قاسم بوكروطة، مدير إدارة المناخية والتنمية المستدامة بوزارة البيئة. يسعدني أن أشارك مع زملائي
with my colleagues.
تغير المناخ
There's an echo from the speaker. Actually, the Ministry of Environment has been working on this issue.
Est-ce que tu peux dire en arabe à Omar de rapprocher son micro?
Can you please ask Omar to have...
Yes. عمر من فضلك ما بنسمعك منيح.
Yes.
عمر من فضلك ما بنسمعك منيح. Yes, هيك أحسن. بس إذا كان ممكن إنك تعلي شوي صوتك. هاي واضح كثير. شكرا.
مش واضح.
لا هلا كثير واضح.
واضح الصوت الآن أستاذ كلثوم؟
هيك كثير واضح. تفضل أستاذ عمر.
هل واضح الصوت الآن؟ أوكي. فإحنا بدأنا بجرد الغازات الدفيئة. قضية المعلومات إحنا استعملنا في خلال جرد الغازات المعلومات اللي من القطاعات، يعني زي الشركة العامة للكهرباء والصناعة النفط ووزارة المواصلات، وزارة الزراعة، وزارة الموارد المائية. ف يعني سلكنا سلوك يعني استعمال المعلومات الدقيقة من القطاع الخاص كل قطاع خاص حسب تخصصه. فهذا يعتبر يعني وكأن تأكيد أن المعلومات يعني سليمة 100%. قاعد عندنا المعلومات، بعض المعلومات من قطاع الزراعة ما تحصلناش عليها محليا، ولكن استعملناها من منظمة الأغذية والزراعة، تم عرضها على وزارة الزراعة وتم اعتمادها بأنها معلومات دقيقة. هذا فيما يخص جبر الغازات. التقرير الشفافية زي ما نشوف أن المحتويات بتاعها كلها يعني نفس اللي موجودة في البلاغ الوطني، هي الظروف الوطنية، جزء الغازات وجزء خاص بالتخفيف، جزء خاص بالتكيف، وكذلك عملية المراقبة وغيرها. فاحنا الآن بنحاول احنا نبدا في التقرير الشفافيه هذا، لكن نحتاج طبعا الى توضيحات اكثر. يعني شنو الفرق ما بين البلاغ الوطني شنو اوجه الاختلاف ما بين ترانسبيرنسي ريبورت سي، حيث ان المعلومات اللي نشوفها اللي موجوده في البلاغ نستعملها في تقرير الشفافيه. كذلك نقوم الان باعداد مساهمه محدده وطنيا national determined contribution. فاحنا لو ممكن نجمع هذه التقارير الاثنين ممكن تحصل عليه تقرير شفافيه. فنحتاج الى ممكن توضيح اكثر في الاساس.
Thank you, Amar. Over to Will now. So, Will now, do you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you still
Okay,
see my
please.
screen? Can you
Yeah,
still
let's
see
see.
my screen?
Yeah,
Okay.
full.
Okay. Okay. So if I can move on now on the next steps and recommendations. So as mentioned, we now in the handing over phase. So we now handing over the platform to the government of Seychelles. So we've done what you call the technical handing over, and that process is still ongoing. So we've met with the persons who are responsible for the platform. We've about to meet the ICT department. So we will be meeting with the different officers who will be assigned roles onto the platform. So so roles in terms of submitting data and so on. So that process is ongoing. Through that process, we also helping them with the compiling budget and the requirements for what is needed to sustain the platform going forward. So we're helping the government with that. So strengthening data integration. So we think we need to ensure that we data integrated and that we still keep, because we've been able to put in some data, but obviously a lot of data remain to be input on the platform. So we hope to continue with training, but like I mentioned, this will have to be taken on by government, training other data compilers. We're also looking at the governance structure where we will have agreements for who will be responsible to enter and submit data on the platform. So we're discussing with the partners as to how to develop these agreements. So we're working on that. And there are a lot of discussions now to expand this platform for other data sets. So the Ministry of Environment is interested to look at the platform to be used for biodiversity data, so and other uses. So we think that this will ensure that the platform will receive the financial and technical support going forward. So we also want to maintain the collaborations and update, especially with other countries who will develop the MRV, because as you know, the MRV is essential for compilation of BTR reports under the UNFCCC. So we hope to be able for the next update to use the MRV for this. So we hope to maintain these collaborations and ensure that we also look at what other countries are doing, new updates onto the platform that could be beneficial for Seychelles. And we also are in discussion with government as how to support them with the platform going forward. So because we contracted consultants to develop the platform, so we want to ensure that we're able to, whilst we do the handing over, but post the handing over, that they receive the support that is needed so that they can sustain the platform going forward. So that's it from me. That's quick. I can take a few questions if you have. Yeah, but I'm also willing to take any follow-up questions that in emails if you have those. Yeah, so over to you, Dominique.
Thank you, Wilna. Thank you. I think we have Nagla Jebori. Nagla, please, over to you.
Thank you very much. Thank you all.
Oh, we don't hear you correctly. Can you? Yeah. We don't hear you. No.
You don't hear me?
Yeah, hello?
Can you hear me? Hello?
نجلة ما بنسمعك منيح.
Hello?
Do you hear Nagla? I think from my side it's not okay.
No, I guess.
No, it's the mic.
It's the mic and the connection, I think.
Yeah, please, can you reconnect again, please?
Okay. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, please try.
Hello?
Please try. Hello?
Yeah.
Nagla, could
Yeah.
you?
Hello.
Now, the mic and the.
Hello. Hello. Hello.
Hello, we Nagla.
We can hear you correctly.
Yeah, I hear me. Not hear. Hello. Hello. Hello.
Not really. Musa, I can, like, I suggest that she just writes her comments.
Yes, please. Yeah, write in the chat, please. Your question, Nagla, if you hear us. Please write in the chat. Thank you. So I think we can move directly on the second step. If you do not have another question, this is I think the Mentimeter or not, Keltum? Is it okay? The Mentimeter, yeah.
Yeah, it's okay. You want me to share?
Yes, of course. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Okay, so please, colleagues, try to join us. Into the Mentimeter, so you can just scan the QR code. Scan the QR code here, and or you can go to menti.com and enter 43706749. I'm not sure how many people we have already. Try please to join us. try to scan your QR code, or you can go to www.menti.com and enter the code here 43706749. Yeah, I guess we can move to the next the first question. From where you are joining us today? We have 13 participants: Morocco, Lebanon, Egypt, South Africa, Senegal, Jordan, Algeria. Nice. I know that we have more than Oman. And you can still join us by scanning the QR code here and also joining on menti.com. Algeria, Senegal, Egypt, Morocco, Oman, Jordan, and South Africa. Please indicate your gender: male, female, or other. 3 males, 1 female. Let's go, ladies. All right, 6 and 3, 7, 8. Okay. So what are the biggest MRV transparency challenges in your country? Please try to write your answers. Data collection, yes. Data availability, data collection again. Sustainability, login, okay. So institutional arrangements, that's very correct. Communication, yeah, we can say also stakeholder engagements. We have verification, yes, that's very true. Key A, key C procedures. Yes, thank you very much for that. So now we are moving to the second question. Do you have an ongoing CBIT project in your country? Is it yes, no, or request submitted? We have 3 countries with their CBIT projects. 1 no, 2, 4 countries, 5 have already their CBITs. 4 no, 1 already requested. I think it's Egypt, maybe Egypt or Iraq or Djibouti. No, 4 from the MENA. I don't know, Musa, if you have any information about the Francophone network. So we have here 6 countries with their 7 countries with their CBIT projects. 4 are sitting not having any CBIT projects at the national level, and then 1 is requested already. So is a digital MRV transparency system already in place or under development in your country? Is it yes, already operational, under development, being considered, not yet? I don't know. Not yet. 1, 2 participants saying that they don't have any information about that. 5 MRVs are under development and 1 is already operational. Very good. The third question, if yes, what areas are covered by your digital MRV transparency system? Is it covering GG inventory, mitigation actions, climate finance tracking, adaptation action, NDC, or other? And I think here we have GG inventory, and then climate finance, adaptation action, almost all the areas are covered by, I think the most important part is about GG inventory. So GG inventory, 3 participants mitigation action, climate finance 3, 2 adaptation action, and 2 NDC tracking. So this webinar will be very useful for you to take advantage from the transparency NDC tracking platform developed by UNDP. Okay, so what type of support do you most need to strengthen your MEV system? And here we are proposing some answers: technical training, digital tools and software, institutional coordination, data quality and management, financial support, knowledge sharing, or peer learning. Yeah, so the majority are stating technical trainings. Yeah. So Musa, we need to figure out how we can just organize a workshop on that. Financial supports, yes, absolutely. Only 1 participant, digital tools and software. So the majority they need actually capacity building and financial supports. So thank you very much for joining. Now we are moving to the feedback. How satisfied are you with this technical webinar? Very satisfied, satisfied, neither satisfied, not dissatisfied, dissatisfied, or very dissatisfied. So we have 7, 8 satisfied. The majority are satisfied, and 3 very satisfied, and 10 very good. So don't forget to connect tomorrow, because we have a second session on experience sharing on also the global transparency platform. So was this event useful for your work? Is it yes, no, or in part? Yes, 4 participants, 9, very good. 12, 14, 15 participants, this is very good, and 1 in parts. What was the most useful that you will take away from this webinar? And here you can write down what you gained from this webinar. Sharon Seychelles experience, thank you very much. This is why we are just taking care of always like including a session on experience sharing, because we know that peer learning and to gain from others' insights is very important for us to learn from each other and to move forward. Yes, Nagila, you are trying to do something to know what other countries have started, what's included in the platform. So just about the experience sharing. So tomorrow we will have 3 other countries: Lebanon from MENA, South Africa with their robust system from Anglophone network, and also Cabo Verde from Lusophone network. So in this webinar series, we have like across 4 networks are like sharing their experience. Presentation, lessons learned, experience sharing, countries experience, training and lessons learned, experience of country and challenges. Thank you very much. That was very, very useful. Over to you, Musa, for
Thank you.
for the closing remarks.
Yeah, thank you, Keltum. Thank you, colleagues, and happy to have you today for this first webinar. So tomorrow we will present the platform from CBIT-GSP for transparency. You can see how we are doing on transparency for each network. We will have 10 network presenting by Alejandro from CBIT-GSP. So thank you again, Dominique. Thank you, Keltum. Thank you, Douglas. Thank you, all colleagues and interpreter. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Musa. Thank you, colleagues. Bye.
And see you tomorrow.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Douglas. Bye. Thank you very much.